Hello from the Jacob Edwards Library in Southbridge, Massachusetts. We're here to celebrate Women's History Month. It is March and it is the time to celebrate women and their handcrafts. So we're going to start with Simone Germain, who is here from Charlton. What's your piece called, Simone?
I think we decided to call it Sun-Kissed.
So it's very colourful. You're a name that's very recognisable in Southbridge and in the area. Mm-hmm. You're involved with the Ruth Wells Art Centre here in Southbridge, which serves, I think, about 25 towns. So it's a very wide group. Would you like to talk a little bit about why you're involved with art, what it does for you?
Well, I think I've enjoyed art for the majority of my life. Ever since I was a little girl, I loved to paint and colour and draw and make things. And even if I was outside playing, I'd make some picture out of the stones on the ground or the sticks and leaves and trees and, whatnot. I kind of see art in everything, I guess. So that makes me a multimedia artist. I guess my favorite medium is paint. I'm always wearing something that I've made. If you notice my shoes, my daughters had taken me to see the Van Gogh experience. I painted these in honor of that trip that we took together. As far as my piece that I entered for the exhibit, I've done a lot of things with the sun and moon combination. I think I love the warm and the cool together. That's what really gets me going. And I've put similar designs like this on everything from flower pots to pumpkins to walls. I just did a chair. A big comfy chair. I painted the sun and moon on it. There's probably not a surface that I haven't tried to paint on.
And what would be your really most favorite?
I think windows are a lot of fun because they're very forgiving. Like if the paint comes off really easy if you didn't like it.
Right. But you're working outside in either the cold or the heat.
Yes, but I find that exhilarating.
Oh, okay.
It's fun to be outside and doing art. I love to work with paper, watercolor, clay, jewelry. There's probably nothing I haven't tried.
It's interesting. And so you also teach, I believe, right?
Yes.
So bringing in the next generation into the art world.
Yes, love to teach from the preschool all the way to the senior centers. Another one of my favorites to do is face painting. Yeah, I do a lot of face painting for different groups and
like organizations when there's festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're associated with a lot of fun and upbeat things. That's kind of empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must mean that like you engage with the community a lot and people know who you are. Mm-hmm. And that can be also very empowering.
I think the face painting is my favorite. There's just something so special about when you hand the child the mirror and they see their face and it's like, oh, wow.
The transformation.
Yeah.
So we will move along to our next artist. So Meg, would you like to describe your piece?
For sure. So this is just a loon I painted probably about a month ago. It's just an acrylic painting on canvas board based on a photograph I took at my family's cabin in Wisconsin.
There's a lot of detail and texture.
You wouldn't imagine how many colors are actually in this black head of a loon. There's greens and reds and blues. Very hard to see here, but in the right sunlight, you can see the different hues to the head of the loon. I'm self-taught. During COVID lockdown, I was in grad school and just picked up some art supplies and started painting. I've done a couple shows now. This is the third women's art show. I did a solo show here in October, and I'm actually dropping off a piece next week to be in the second Harvard staff art show for March and April.
So I'm interested in your frame as well because it's quite decorative.
The main reason I chose it was it fit my painting size-wise. So I found it in a closet last week, and I think the wood kind of complements the blue. So that's why I went with this frame.
Yeah, so what are you working on at the moment?
I'm painting another painting of the same lake with two loons in it, but more of a landscape scene in oils. And I think that's all I have on my easel right now.
This is Deb Tracy with her piece Canada Goose.
You can see it's very detailed work. It's needlepoint. I believe needlepoint began even as far back as the Egyptians. I always enjoyed sewing in my teen years, even when my children were younger, and I learned to sew on my grandmother's treadle sewing machine, so that goes way back.
Yes.
But I've since transitioned to watercolor, and I seem to enjoy that a lot. It's an escape. It's a quick medium, because the watercolors, they dry quickly. Seem to be enjoying that a lot. So I like flowers. I grow flowers in my garden, a lot of zinnias, and I like the botanicals. So I've always done a lot of crafting, take a lot of classes. It's amazing, like what you can actually take at local libraries, jelly painting, paper quilling recently. Lots of good, alternatives, different types of art.
Yeah, we've actually got a program coming up on junk journaling, which is in April.
And junk journaling is very popular on Pinterest, I see lately.
Yeah.
And it's also good because you recycle a lot of materials.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for giving us an opportunity to display our works of art.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And we do this every year. So anybody who's out there who is involved in any of the creative arts, you'll be more than welcome to submit one piece in March or for March. So it should really come in February. And it's open to anybody in the area. You don't have to be from Southbridge. I think it's important that people get an opportunity to show their work. So thank you, Deb. This is Laura Senadella's piece. It's called Winter Solstice.
Well, I've always liked birch trees. I follow birch tree paths. Birch trees have to grow within a group, so they seem to put them in large paths. And I like to hike, and this is one of the parks that I was hiking in. And then I decided to add, a little bit more snow for the moon to stick out. The moon, a couple of years ago was a real big year, the moon. We had really great, beautiful moons, and I decided to put one in a watercolor. Usually watercolor bleeds out, so this was a real challenge for me to get like detail on the birch trees and on the moon. I thought they looked really nice together.
So are you somebody who has studied art for a long time?
I've been an artist ever since I was little. I've been self-taught, but recently I've been taking a lot more workshops because I'm teaching. I wanted to get back at how do I tell someone else how to do what I do. This is my imagination. I can get really deep into my work, and to be able to tell somebody else how to do that is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But
instruction
I enjoy
is
it.
a different kettle of fish.
It's a whole nother, yeah. But I enjoy that. So.
That's great. Well, it's also important that you pass along what you've learned and your talent to the next generation, and that's really significant.
I told you I had taken a lot of classes, and a lot of my instructors are no longer instructors, and they may be large award-winning people who don't come around, or they've just aged out of doing shows.
And that does happen. So that's why it's important to think about, giving back to the next generation and making sure that people learn from you what you've learned, so that they don't have to go through the painstaking efforts of figuring it out. And
the biggest thing is the framing and the matting and everything. Mm-hmm. I have over 100 shows in the Ruth Wells Center in May, and I've been knocking out for about a year and a half. Knocking out.
You mean 100 paintings
pieces,
in the show? Wow. Yeah, it's beautifully framed.
So
you do it yourself, or you get it done professionally?
I do, and I also have it done professionally, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm disabled. I consider myself sometimes an outside artist, but I can't always paint the way I want to. So I have MS, and I'm inspired to continue going. And art is one of those things that I can schedule myself and give myself a commitment to doing it. And no matter what, that's the new thing is no matter what. If it's not perfectly straight, it's okay. Acceptance and all that. And to, like you said, to have other people enjoy what I do, it's a lot of times to make me feel better. I paint to go into another space. My journey is a little bit different than other people's, but we all come together at the same place. You see that in my work, it changes. Like, we'll do watercolors in February and we'll do oils in June, and I'll change up based on where I am at with my physical abilities.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome, thank you.
This is Maureen Doyle's piece. So it's a knitted bear.
Okay, I'll tell you the story. One of our members, she had this instruction set for Lammy, which was like a head of a lamb with like a little blanket thing for a toddler or baby. So I got this yarn, and I know you were talking about recycling. So this is kind of like recycling. Somebody gave me a free skein of yarn. So I was like, I bet I can make a bear out of that.
And bears are very popular.
So I made a berry instead of Lammy. So
Perfect.
That's my bear.
So that is a great story. It's always good to know the story behind something. So some of our people aren't here this evening, but you're more than welcome to come in and look at these. There's a lot of recycling and upcycling going on amongst the women artists, and I think that's amazing. We've got origami and embroidery here in our show, and we are really, really chuffed. So I think we've come to the end of our show. Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for participating.